jealous of Stepkid, or frustrated with husband? I truly don't think SK even has anything to do with all this. Truthfully though, I have no friends to talk about this stuff with. It's been a long time since I've ever gotten an outside opinion on anything, so let me try to walk you through where I am at right now. I've been with my husband for 6 years now. When we met, he was great. So nice to me. Super fit and disciplined. Went to the gym every day and ate very healthy, and told me about how he was doing it to be a good role model for his kid. Owned a business making a ton of money and seemed to do very well for himself. I lived in an apartment with no laundry hookups, and he had a house, so he would often rotate and fold my clothing while I was asleep, having it ready for me to take home. COVID hit and killed his business as he was a third party to doctors' offices, and they were barely even letting patients in at the time. The gym he went to was also closed down for a while. We had only been dating for about a year, so finances were not joined at this point. From my perspective, it appeared that he was living off of savings and reserves. I now know he was charging credit cards that he later abandoned and borrowed money from his parents to get through it. He somehow paid his car off during this time, only to drive it for a month while it had an oil leak, neglected to service it, and it blew up. We had been dating about a year and a half at this point, and I genuinely felt bad for him. I thought it was just a mix of bad timing/bad luck, but now I'm starting to wonder if he put himself in those positions and is doing it all over again. Either way, I bought him a car at this time. Just a beater, but I took $6,000 out of my emergency fund to do it. Had $9,000 left of savings at this time. Boyfriend still didn't have a job, but started going back to the gym as it had just opened again. Noticed a business booming nearby and worked there for a bit. During this time, I started paying for more of our dates, took him on a little spa day to boost his spirits, and gave him money when I knew he needed things but didn't have the money for them. He never asked me for money. I did this all myself. Until one day, I realized I didn't have any money left. I had spent all my savings and was finding it very hard to build back up with these added expenses, but I didn't stress too much. I had faith in us. He actually got a very good job shortly after this and started bringing home $2,000 to $5,000 bi-weekly doing sales. Our finances were much more shared at this point, and we had good communication. He knew what I was about and agreed to it. Looked forward to it. He even said, "I am a frugal person. I like to make educated purchases so that I can save the maximum amount and use it to buy/do things I actually want to spend my money on." I made it very clear to him how I was able to save up $15,000 on such a small salary at the time, and how it was the only thing that bailed us out for a minute there. We made plans to build it back up soon with all the money we had coming in. That still had never happened. Shortly after he started his job, he received a motion from the court to sell his home. You see, this was something that was mandated in his last divorce that he just ignored until it had to happen. And he couldn't sell the house because when he got a realtor, he found out the house was in foreclosure due to no payment being made for the past 9 months. Something about his/ex-wife's mortgage company and their health instead having the same name. When they split, she agreed to pay the mortgage if he kept their insurance policy active and paid it. They did this for a while until the ex-wife got a new job and told her she was done with that agreement as she didn't need the insurance anymore. My husband kept the insurance policy active, never made the changes, and just kept paying the insurance premium thinking he was paying the mortgage due to both companies having the same name. She stopped paying the mortgage and he thought she stopped paying the insurance, so he was just going to let the plan cancel itself, not realizing it would go to collections, I guess, and just continued paying what he thought was the mortgage, but was actually the insurance company because he forgot which part of the deal he had agreed to and got it mixed up. So we move out of his house into a $1,900 rental because my husband has a son. I was paying $450 and sharing a porch with prostitutes. His close friend is a realtor, and he says he is taking care of everything with the house. His dad hired a lawyer for him as well. They got everything sorted. The house sold for an overpayment of what my husband owed on the loan. That money is now in unclaimed funds because my husband has neglected to initiate the process of getting it. This is where things get really bad, and kind of where we are now, and I guess I should have seen it all coming. But anyways, we never built back my $15 emergency savings. We never save for anything. My husband still makes $3,000 to $7,000 bi-weekly, and we reported $167,000 on our taxes last year. But we live like rappers, and I can't live like this. This has never been something I agreed to. I want kids. We don't plan for them. I want a house. He wants a house. We don't save for it. We have a dog. He doesn't go to the vet. We don't go to the doctor. Insurance plans are not offered by his company, and we certainly don't have the funds left over to buy one out of pocket. My eyes don't work at all, and both of us have rotting teeth and likely underlying health issues, but we don't get it taken care of because no money. When we got married, my husband really is the sweetest, most compassionate and tender, considerate person I've ever met, and I admire him in so many ways. We did it fast because we just wanted something small. Planned to get married at a courthouse and take a honeymoon afterwards in which we would go all out. We had no guests. I didn't even buy a dress. I had to take out a loan for the trip after 4 months with a reservation, a payment due, and nothing saved yet. Our life is not a priority for him. I track all his finances. He doesn't have a drug problem. I see every dollar and where it goes. He literally just spends all of it on food for himself and everything under the sun for his kid. Private lessons, enhanced schooling, designer clothes, special tools and equipment for every occasion that no one else has. It's ridiculous. We are paycheck to paycheck, and we should not be. I'm not asking to get my nails done every week and all that. I literally just want health insurance. And maybe a hobby that we can do/enjoy together. He's not registered to vote. He didn't file taxes for 3 years and has done nothing to try and catch them up. Those prior credit cards he ran up and abandoned, those are in collections. He doesn't do anything to help solve it. He actually digs his heel every time I try to help, and it seems, and I'm so tired of worrying about it. I can't do it alone because it's all regarding banks/accounts that my name is not on, so he has to call. Does anyone else live like this? Is this just inflation and a case of my husband working too many hours each day? This SHD is miserable. I never know if I'm being selfish and have crazy expectations of life. My husband has only had this job for about 3 years, but it just doesn't feel like we're playing catch-up anymore. Especially when we don't do jack SHD to fix anything and spend all our money on our kid. Is this how everyone lives? TLDR. We make $170,000, yet we live paycheck to paycheck. Our kid lives a luxury lifestyle while we have rotting teeth and don't even buy ourselves new clothing. We had to finance our wedding, which was $7,000, and also doubled as the only vacation we've ever taken together because we were unable to save for it even with a year's notice. I haven't been to the doctor in 7 years because there's truly no extra room for stuff like that. Is this how everyone lives? And now to the next story, story 2. Wife says I always ruin everything and that I mistreat her on purpose. Warning. Extremely long text. Seeking advice. Warning. Extremely long text. I, 27M, have been married to my wife, 30M, for 3 years. Yesterday wore our 3rd anniversary, been together for 6. We do not have kids. For some backstory, my wife is quite explosive, not violent, and impulsive. We don't really have fights or discussions often, but when we do, oh boy, she becomes literally wall you can't talk to. If she gets the wrong idea, even if she takes it out of context, it's almost impossible to make her notice that the situation is NLT as she sees it. It'll start from the beginning. I had a car accident when we had 2 months of dating. I almost died literally. Had my throat cut at half by the steering wheel. I had that accident a day we went out clubbing, my then GF and I. We had a bad fight, and after she asked to be left at a friend's house. On my way home I had the accident. This situation caused that my parents at that moment to resent my then GF, because in their eyes it was somewhat her fault. I never blamed her, Nad, she doesn't blame herself either, trust me. Since then my wife has had some beef with my parents. Even when my parents do nothing inherently wrong, my wife always feels like they are treating her badly on purpose. This brings to how somehow I ruin everything. The last 3 years since we got married, we literally has fights on the day of our anniversary and on her birthday 2 days apart, 4 different reasons. The first one I don't remember. Last year the issue was that we were planning to make a party with some friends on my parents' house the weekend after my wife's birthday, but my mother canceled the permission to use her house for an unrelated issue. The thing is, my mother told me this the day of her birthday, on which I didn't see an issue with telling her because for me it was a simple situation. For me it was just a change of location. Instead of being on my parents' house, I would be somewhere else. But for her it was that. She took that action personal again her, which somehow prompted my wife to be mad at me for telling her okay her birthday. Fine, maybe I could have waited to next day or something. But this situation causes my wife to want to be in bed for 3 days almost not eating, without talking to me at all while literally wanting to end our marriage over this. This year was another story. I have to go every year to Italy for work. And last year I could go with my wife. This year I only since made to save up and surprise my wife on her birthday with the tickets to go together. Well, my surprise didn't go as I hoped. For her there were two issues. One, the fact that I didn't take her into account in the decision, basically asking her if she even wanted to go before buying the tickets, and in top my family, parents, brother and brother's GF, is going as well. But they wouldn't be going with us. My dad has to go as well because we work together SL he has to go. And he dead to take my mother and my brother decided to join them as well. I found this out one day before I bought my wife's and I tickets and didn't see it as a problem because we wouldn't be together, just on the Dame country. And for this reason she got upset. The thing is that this caused her to bring up everything, and I mean everything Eve ever done wrong in the past 6 years. Whether I fixed them or not. She spent our anniversary crying and locked up in our bedroom, and every time I tried talking to her, she just wanted to be left alone and to not bother her. That was yesterday, which brings us to today. Today I had to go to work, but I left her some flowers in the kitchen. While I'm at work, she gives me hope by sending me some cute messages and stuff that makes me hopeful of fixing things. Then, 30 minutes later, she sends a load of messages angry at me because I had bought rotten flowers for her. I obviously didn't know they were rotten under the wrapping. And this reason is what spiked her madness again. She no longer wants to speak with me, and when we do she says I'm bothering her. We are currently on different bedrooms as she doesn't want anything to do with me. She actually wanted to leave to her home state by bus just to have space, according to her. I for now convinced her to stay and to try fix things in the following days, and she agreed to staying. But the little we have talked, she just brings back past years stuff and mages her own mind about out-of-context situations, making me seem like I don't care about her. Example, that because sometime 2 years ago I helped my brother with something for his GF, then top means that I care more about them than my wife. I'm out of words and extremely frustrated with the situation and would love to hear some advice from you all. Thank you for reading my wall of text.